Thank you for being here, Melanie.
Of course.
So I know you've had a pretty extensive career as far as doing some podcast and voiceover work. Can you tell me a little bit about that and how you got involved in it?
Well, the voiceover work started about, probably a decade ago. And I was lucky enough to get an audition and begin to work with Funimation, which does a lot of the anime voiceovers. And the first big project that I got was as a occurring role on a project called Kodacha. And it was a national project, and it was really a great way to be introduced to that. As far as podcasting, I've started using that in my online classes. And I've always been a big fan of NPR and those kinds of things, and really used those as a model for it, and it's worked really well for the online classes.
What made you decide you wanted to get into this kind of field?
Well, my undergraduate degree is in theater, and I've always loved doing the live productions in front of large audiences, and broadcasting is just sort of a next step with that and leads to even bigger audiences. So I thought it was just the next step in what I wanted to do.
What made you get into teaching?
You know, I think I've always been a teacher. Even in high school, I didn't babysit, I was a private tutor. And my sister would say that I've always been bossy, and I think maybe that I've wanted to teach people everything, you know, from subject matter or how to crochet or any of that kind of stuff. So I think teaching is just second nature to me, and I really think it's a calling. There are people that love it and want to do it, and people that it's really not their home, and this has always been my home. I enjoy being in a classroom.
What's it been like kind of sharing your life experiences out, in the world with a new generation?
You know, that's a great question, because in teaching, we get older as professors, but our audience always stays the same, that 18 to 24-year-old. And so as I see that generation change, and as I get further away from them, the perspective shifts. And I think I try to teach different things to each new generation. And that's been a challenge for me, especially the millennials with all these 21st century skills coming up and the technology coming in it. It makes me be a lifelong learner so that I can continue to share different experiences with them.
Where do you feel like you get your drive from?
My parents probably instilled that. Both of my parents came from very rural backgrounds. They're very hard-working, blue-collar workers. And I think it really made me appreciate my education and the privileges that I enjoy now. And that drives me every day.
Why are you so passionate about your work?
It's like breathing. I tried to do the corporate world, and I just didn't find the challenges there. And who is it, Mark Twain, that says that if you do the thing you love, you never work a day in your life? And that's how I feel. It's just something that I have to do. I don't have any other choice.
What would you say has been the highlight of your career?
Oh, I've got a lot of them, but the thing that comes to mind first is that we did a faculty, alumni, and undergraduate production of The Lion in Winter. And I got to play Eleanor of Aquitaine, who was the Queen of England and France. And to do the research for her and play that incredibly powerful person, to do it here in my home school, and to work with faculty and alumni and current students, that was sort of the collision of all the best worlds together. I think that's been the highlight so far.